Hey, it's Jang here from ultimaterc.com, and as is frequently the case, I have a box. And in this case, the box contains the ARRMA Granite. It is a two-wheel drive monster truck. I just got it in from Tower Hobbies, and well, it's in that box, so let me go ahead and get it out of there. Boom! Granite. Yeah, monster truck, big trucker. It's actually not that big. It's a, well, you know, they call it a 1/10 scale. It's about the size of a Traxxas Stampede, and I think that's what they were trying to compete against with the release of this vehicle. Pretty light, whoa, pretty lightweight, and this just, that is cool. These tires not only have a decent all-terrain sort of tread, something that'll last a long time, but it's got a good rubber compound to it too, and they do have foams inside of there. They are vented, and I like these tires. Oftentimes with the low-end monster trucks, especially something all the way down in the two-wheel drive range, they just give you crap tires. These guys didn't. They gave me useful tires that I will not be itching to get rid of immediately, like with the Traxxas Stampede stock ones. Pretty decent, pretty nice design overall. You know, it's screen printed. It's got the little crackles of rocks imprinted into the body. Really big, tall grille in the front. Not the most realistic thing. A little bit toyish feeling there, and not having the clear windows, but that's mostly a cost-cutting measure. Let me go ahead and take this body off. Let's see what's underneath. What's going to make this whole thing tick? Well, that looks pretty familiar. That looks very familiar. That, oh, check out the warning sticker. Oh yeah, warranty and warning. I love this. Warning and warranty. This is not a toy. No, this is not a toy. This thing right here that I'm holding in my hands, this is a real monster truck. This is a full-size monster truck that, you know, people who are small enough would be able to actually drive this thing. Just doesn't come with a steering wheel. All you got to do is add your own steering wheel, and this is real. It's not a toy. It's real. Basic design is the same thing that they've used for their other vehicles to date, and all of their first series of vehicles in all styles use the same design, same basic chassis layout, and it's a TVP style. Twin vertical plates, made very popular by the HPI Savage, and it works. You know, it gives it good stability. I've already tested the ARRMA Raider, which was their first buggy, and also the Fury, which is a short course truck that uses a longer chassis, and very durable designs. They use good plastic for these things, and this design in general just works out. They had a little bit of trouble with the Raider version, the buggy version, because the body is so small and really just kind of doesn't give you enough room to work around the speed control, especially with the battery attachment. Speaking of the battery connection, pull a pin over here, push a longer plastic pin through the other side, pull it out over here, and this opens up. If you haven't seen this before, this is really cool. That is your battery loading tray, and that's where your battery goes. As long as you have your lead from your ESC sticking down, it's very easy, very convenient to change out the battery without having to remove the body. And this is a shorter version. It's not the short course version of the chassis, which is actually longer by about, I don't know, 1.5 inches, something like that. It's a shorter version, but they do have the cutouts here on the sides to allow you to hook up a full-on LiPo battery that has the terminals, you know, a square or rectangular hard case pack that has removable terminals, so it's got enough space where you can attach those terminals from above if you do have one of those. So this is a very convenient kind of trademark design or feature of the ARRMA vehicles across their entire line. While I've got this thing upside down, you can see how the suspension arms on the bottom is pretty conventional H-arms, front and rear. They do have a couple of of attachment points for your shocks. You can see here we do have actual adjustable turnbuckles for the tie rods for steering, and then same thing back here for your camber links. They have metal dog bones. They're not CVAs, but just dog bones. They are steel. Everything rides on ball bearings across this entire vehicle. It also has a slipper clutch with a hex style slipper pad. All of the gears inside of the transmission, I'm not going to open up the transmission right here, but I've seen them on the Raider. They are all metal inside of there. They do have, before I go completely away from the suspension, looking at the front suspension, they have this cool looking design for the upper arms. They're actual A arms in this case, and you do have adjustable camber, but you do need to remove one screw in order to tighten and loosen one end on that. They do have E-clips here, unfortunately. I always hate those, but I don't know why they had to use E-clips, because they could have just used the capture screw holes that are already molded right in. Maybe it made it just a little bit cheaper. Oh well. Shocks. Shocks are oil filled all the way around. They are plastic bodied. They use just regular clip-on spring preload clips, so nothing too fancy there, but decent shocks for what they are. Not a lot of adjustability with the shocks. You had, like I said earlier, you had 2 points where you can attach down here, and by default these are attached at the outer points, which makes them stiffer and also gives you less down travel. There's still a fair amount of down travel there, but I would probably move to the inner holes for a monster truck just to give you a little more range of motion on that suspension. And then you don't have different places where you can adjust the progressiveness of the suspension by moving your shocks in and out up here, so that's a little bit of a loss. Fully adjustable height on the body mounts, that's nice, and they've got a little bit of bracing around here with some slightly flexible plastic. You know, some nylon, some fiber reinforced nylon, so it's got a fair amount of flexibility into it, so hopefully those will not just snap on any heavy hard landings. A lot more structure around the rear for the body mounts. You've got a little bit of a cage coming all the way back to the motor guard at the rear. Moving on to electronics. Brushed system. This is ready to run. Comes with a brushed ESC that is supposed to be waterproof. Last I heard, the receiver is in here, and this is a waterproof case. The receiver is very tiny. It's a really small little thing in a very large receiver case. I don't know why they did that. It's kind of funny. The servo, I will need to dig into the servo to see if they changed the specs on it. When I tested the Fury, I did take out the servo. It takes something like 26 screws to remove the servo. It's not easy to get in to change that. A lot of the stuff is fairly easy to get into relative to normal two-wheel drive vehicles, but the servo definitely not. Not a very fast servo from my earlier tests, but strong enough for a two-wheel drive vehicle of this weight. But it was not waterproof the first time around, the first one that I tested. So I don't know if this one is waterproof either. What else? Motor. It has a brushed motor with a fan built into it. These things have quite a lot of power. They're kind of like the Traxxas brushed motors in the sense that for their size, they have a good amount of horsepower, a fair amount of torque, not a great amount of torque, but a fair amount. They will give you some good speeds, and this one is supposed to be rated to run up to 30 miles per hour without changing out any of the electronics and without changing the gearing either, and we will see if that stands up. It did come very close with the previous vehicles in this line that I've tested, but we'll see if they've got it right with the adjusted gearing for the larger tires. And again, I love these tires, man. I really do. I think the size of the wheels looks like a 2.8. I'm hoping it's a 2.8, but I'll look into that a little bit more in detail when it comes time to doing the full-on review of this, which of course will be coming up. But right now I just want to show you, if you haven't seen these before, it's the ARRMA controller. 2.4 gigahertz system. They kind of designed this to look sort of like a power tool, and check out where you put your batteries in down here. That's pretty cool. Only uses 4 AA's, so it saves you a couple bucks on that every once in a while. Digital trims on it, and dual rate for steering, so you can adjust your overall steering range. And then a lot of folks have really enjoyed this, and I appreciate it very much also, is the recognition that some people on Earth are left-handed. And there you go, left-handed design, so simple, so easy. I really hope to see more and more and more controllers available for hobby grade RCs that have that feature, because it's so simple to just have either something that pops off from here and pops onto the other side, or rotates like this. Really good design there. Very much appreciate that. No antenna. It's a 2.4 gigahertz system with an internal antenna, so it's not going to poke you in the eye or just get in the way or have something to break off. Pretty good feeling to it. They've got soft silicone rubber grip on the back. The front is just hard, but it has a little bit of texture to it. One thing I don't like about these controllers, they're a little bit front heavy. Even when you put the batteries in, they still kind of pull you forward a little bit. They're also really not designed for smaller, younger hands, so smaller kids will have to work a little bit harder, especially with the distance that the wheel is from the left-hand position. But all in all, decent feel to it. Not a whole lot of bounce around the middle. There is some, but it's not too bad. And they do have a nice soft, sticky foam cover around here, so it is going to it's going to grab your fingers nicely, so you don't end up having to really hold it as tightly. That's a really nice thing, being able to just touch and just barely put any pressure on it, and it will move. So that just makes your fingers last longer. You don't start to feel that kind of carpal tunnel sort of thing. But that's it for the controller. The only other thing that's included in the box, since this was an unboxing, there's a quick start guide. It's not an entire manual. You have to go online to download the full manual. They've got a small little decal sheet for adding a little bit of personalization. And here's the exploded view. And they do have some basic tools. You've got your T-wrench, some hex Allen wrenches, and then also here are extra preload spacers for adjusting the suspension. And they've also got a couple other horns, steering servo horns, which I'm assuming will be for different sizes of splines if you want to upgrade your servo. And that's it for the stuff that it comes with. But that's it for now. On the whole, for the Granite, suspension feels pretty decent out of the box for what it is. It's a little bit softer in the front, but that's what you want with a two-wheel drive vehicle, especially with tires that are this large. And I have high hopes for this thing. I hope that it does well, because it looks pretty good. It's priced about right from what I've seen on the market, and seems to be decently well equipped. So I will do plenty of testing, plenty of driving for this. I will not have the review up immediately, but if you're seeing this video sometime after its upload date, just look at the upload date on YouTube, there will probably be the review up already, so be sure to look for that full review of the ARRMA Granite two-wheel drive monster truck. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys again very soon. Bye for now.